My time in Vietnam, at least, I'd say probably 20% of my time in leading my platoon and later my cavalry troop was essentially spent doing exactly what you said. Trying to keep my forces operating within what we conceived to be in the Army at that time, the rule of law. We called it the rule of land warfare. We call it the code of conduct. We carried a little card in our pocket that expressed things like that. Later, after Vietnam, we would formalize that. And when I went to Korea after Vietnam, for example, on a tour, we actually carried it in our pocket in a very formalized way. These are the kinds of things that leaders need in order to keep this from happening, because as you said, and as every war has testified to, it will happen. We massacred Germans in the German counteroffensive in the Ardennes in 44 and 45. I've had officers in the Marine Corps tell me that officers shot Japanese prisoners coming out with their hands up from the caves on Okinawa, for example, and on Iwo Jima. You need something to keep that from happening. What you need is leadership. You need leaders who will stop it. You need leaders who will step in, stop it on the spot, and if it gets out of hand, take it to court-martial or whatever other punitive measures are necessary. The real problem here, in my view, and the reason I chose to speak out many moons ago, was that this was authorized in every respect at the very highest level in the land. The Vice President of the United States advocated with the Congress of the United States for torture. That's unparalleled in our history. It sent a signal down through the chain of command that was recognized at every level, and I think we ought to stand up and cheer the armed forces of the United States of America, particularly the Marine Corps and the Army, because most people didn't respond the way the administration wanted them to. And that's a great commentary. It's a great statement about our armed forces. This was not armed forces wide, and it wasn't because, and I know some of these people who said, no, I'm not doing that. Some of them looked the other way. Some of them actually did something about it, and it worked at their level. The ICRC helped them in some cases, and that's another thing we haven't even talked about. We jeopardized the ICRC's role in every conflict that will occur from here on out. It was unprecedented that the head of the ICRC had to come sit down with Colin Powell in his office and finally break their most precious rule. That is, you don't take it above the battlefield commander, because if you do, you lose access. He took it to the Secretary of State of the United States twice. That's unprecedented. It should never have had to happen.
David?